on balance, he was the best president we had.
You're saying, bottom line, he was a good guy that loved this country.
He did. He did.
That's a big difference from Obama, who obviously wants to destroy it.
Well, he obviously doesn't love this country. He doesn't want to think we're better than anybody else. And of course we are. That's why everybody in the world wants to come here.
Well, our ideals were better, and we certainly were exceptional. Now we're an exceptional paradox of just horrible socialist and crony capitalist, and then all the other free market folks making this country go. Why do you think the Democrats are so arrogant now and admit they're lying and admit they want to wreck the economy and saying you didn't build your business? I mean, that's a way to discredit themselves. Are they that disconnected?
Well, they have a lot of rich people, and they've always had more money than the grassroots movement.
Oh, yeah.
And I think they're doing a bit of gloating, but they simply want to continue to control things. They always have. And I'm telling the people listening to this program, we beat them in 1964 when we nominated Goldwater, and we beat them in 1980 and 84 when we nominated Ronald Reagan, and we can do it again if you'll get with it. Read my book so you know the shenanigans they pulled before, and we won't let them get by with giving us another loser for president this time.
Well, I've never seen the establishment this scared, and I've gone back through the history.
Good.
And I want to see if you concur with that. They are really scared of the Tea Party insurrection taking over the Republicans. They are absolutely lining up against it. But I'm seeing a lot of good signs of major talk show hosts realizing that and now saying that. And what do you expect them to pull now to try to get a Chris Christie or a Jeb Bush over a Rand Paul or a Ted Cruz? What do you expect them to pull, A, and then B, as probably the top expert on the inside stuff that goes on, seeing it for 50 years, Phyllis Schlafly joins us, head of the Eagle Forum. Who would you like to see as president?
Well, I'm not picking my guy at the present time, but I can tell you it's pretty clear that their number one guy is Jeb Bush.
Yeah.
They believe in the British system of primogeniture. They want to take the next one in line. And of course, the next one in line has been one loser after another. I don't believe the American people are willing to elect another Bush.
Yeah, we rejected royalty in 1776.
We did. And but the grassroots can do it. So get on out, join, and realize that the fight is in the Republican Party. That's where the important fight is. Now, we lost several good candidates, including my own candidate for state rep, by the Libertarian votes that took more than his margin by which he lost. And maybe you wish we had many parties like other countries do. I don't wish that, but some people may.
Yeah.
But we have a two-party system. And
well, I've clearly said,
once said, you go to war with the army you have, not the army you wish you had.
Well, I agree. I vote Libertarian when both candidates are bad, but I said in this election, if there's a Tea Party patriot running against a Democrat, and even if they're not perfect, you got to vote for them, because this is a referendum on tyranny. We have to bring them down. We have to bloody their nose. We have to make them pay. We've got to take over.
We did a pretty good job.
Yeah.
We did a pretty good job. I was really proud of it. We didn't get everybody, but we got an awful lot and a lot more than they expect us to get.
Well, Phyllis, it's just amazing. I want to have you back on again soon just to talk about the book for a full hour. I want to go to a few phone calls.
Yes, because I've got so many good inside stories, and it's up to date, and you've got to have the ammo if you're going to go to battle.
Wow.
And the ammo is a Choice Not an Echo new 50th anniversary edition.
Well, I want to talk to the publisher and maybe carry it at the InfoWars store as well. I can't wait to read it. I mean, I read the original book, but I haven't. That was like 15 years ago. I want to read this updated, expanded version. Phyllis Schlafly's our guest. I want to go to a few phone calls here when we come back from break, but maybe we'll skip this network break for time. But, Phyllis, anything else you'd like to add to the viewers and listeners out there?
Well, what's in the book is the inside story, like that 1980 behind-the-scenes story of what they tried to do with Reagan is just simply incredible. And it shows you how these people operate. And they've got the power and the clout, and they do a lot. But I think people are waking up to that. At the present time, what they're trying to do is to give Obama more power than the previous presidents ever had. They want to give him fast track so he can make any deal with foreign countries and not even let Congress know. Make a deal and make it into the law. It's called fast track. Why would we give him any more power? It blows my mind.
That's right. And in fact, I've seen some Rand Paul statements where he's like, we need to get trade done. And he needs to clarify that because that's what the other Republicans are saying. It means give him the power. He's been given a mandate to be indicted, to be impeached, not a mandate to expand power. The mandate is repeal Obamacare. Phyllis Schlafly, what's going to happen if the neocons and rhinos are able to suppress the liberty movement in the Republican Party, and if they don't repeal Obamacare, if they don't shut the president down, if they let him shut down more power plants, if they let him have executive amnesty? I mean, if they do that, what's going to happen?
Well, I'm making up my mind that's not going to happen. And we've got to educate the grassroots and tell them that they have the power if they will only use it. That's what we're up against today. Because a lot of people, you realize there's not many people who can remember 1964 now, and we need to tell them that we are a country of we the people.
Well, I'll say this about Barry Goldwater. I mean, nobody was talking about New World Order and trilateral commissions and, you know, just all this stuff back when he was doing it when it was like speaking Martian because he really cared and was warning people. He was being the opposite of a politician. He was being a statesman and studying the two. Though Reagan was probably more well-spoken and maybe better looking, Barry Goldwater would have been an incredible president.
Yes, he was an authentic conservative, and that's what we want. Somebody who really cares about this country and believes our country should be the best and the biggest. One of the things that I have been responsible for repeatedly putting in the Republican policy platform adopted at the Republican convention is that we need military superiority. It's not enough to be just strong. We've got to be the biggest and the best. And that's the best key to peace for ourselves and for everybody else.
Well, it would be if we didn't have neocons and Obama launching all these wars. That's why people want to cut the military. My concern is they're trying to twist the military into a domestic force with all those memos to go after the Tea Party. Do you find that chilling?
Yes, and I also find it chilling that they're putting women in combat. I don't have any respect for the military who send women into combat. It's kind of like if you hear noise in your house in the middle of the night, and the husband turns over and says, honey, you go on downstairs and see what's going on.
Well, it's a war on reality. I mean, men can't make babies, and men are ugly, and women look good. I mean, there are differences.
The job of the men is to protect their family.
Exactly. It's men's job to, men, at least the men I know, want to protect their family.
Sure they do. That's why recent figures show that men who have children earn more money than men who don't. Well, that's just because they work harder. They've got a motive.
Well, the minute my wife had our first child, my son, it just clicked. Everything in me. I suddenly wanted to be more successful, wanted to work harder, grew up a lot, and it's biological. Yes, and
we need to encourage that. And of course, you're fighting the feminists. You need to read my other book, Who Killed the American Family, and you'll see the damage that the feminists did.
I have read that book. In fact, I want to have you back on in a few weeks if you'll do it just on that book as well. Phyllis Schlafly's our guest. Randy in Texas. Randy, you're on the air. Go ahead.
Thank you, Alex. Phyllis, you are God-sent. I went to a program the other evening where John Danforth was the speaker. I know you know John probably very well.
Yeah.
And I'd like you to speak about him a little bit, but let me just tell you one thing that he said that was very disturbing to me. He told me, point blank, that his wife campaigned and raised funds for Mark Pryor in Arkansas. If that is going on, Republican to Democrat, something is grossly wrong in this country. And I'd like you to address what you believe that Mr. Danforth's position really is on the Republican Party and conservatism in general.
Oh, well, it's not surprising because we in Missouri, I live in Missouri, consider him part of the establishment crowd. And this fight we've been talking about in the National Republican Party between the establishment and the grassroots goes on in the different states. And in Missouri, Missouri, Danforth is definitely in the establishment crowd. Now, I'm happy to tell you that in the last election for Missouri State Chairman, we elected a grassrooter. We elected a real conservative. And, you know, it's kind of funny. Missouri has a pretty slick system for electing the state chairman. It's kind of like the way they elect the Pope. They had a secret ballot, and somebody counts the ballots, and Ed Martin won by about 3 or 4 votes, and then they immediately take the ballots out and burn them. That's the way they do for the Pope, you know, and the smoke goes up, and then the people know there's been a new Pope. Well, anyway, we got a conservative, a non-establishment guy, and you can do that in your state and get your grassrooters elected as delegates to the Republican National Convention.
Very exciting. We're almost out of time. Thank you so much, Randy. I'll see if Phyllis can do 5 more into overdrive. Paul Watson's not overdrive, into the next hour. I got Paul Watson coming on with huge breaking news, but I'm trying to get to as many of these calls as possible. I think the Democrats have jumped the shark in that they just openly say we're criminals, we're liars, ah, ha, ha. I believe they've gone insane like Nero. And we've got a real chance to beat them now, folks. They've had so much power that they've acted like lunatics, and the Republicans that have worked with them are going to be exposed. If we take this initiative, I believe we can take the country back. Phyllis, what do you say to that?
Yes, I do. I absolutely do believe. And not only that, we must. Our future depends on it.
Let's go ahead.
So go to my website, eaglefarm.org.
Let's go to Patrick in Texas. Patrick, you're on the air. Go ahead.
Hey, Alex. I was pleasure listening to you. Hi, Phyllis.
Hi.
I was a fan of Reagan when I found out that he tried to get rid of the Federal Reserve, and I think that's why they tried to murder him. You know. And
the IRS. Yep.
Yeah, and the IRS, and also as far as businesses creating jobs. The one thing that I think about is the public. Their demand for a product, and then the banks allowing the public to get money in order to make these products and actually start entrepreneurial shit. And that doesn't happen. And, that's the biggest enemy we have are the banks. And,
well, the central banks that are waging war on the regular banks, I agree with you. Phyllis, who is the biggest enemy in corporate America? You mentioned Chamber of Commerce, all these groups. The unions vote for open borders. They vote for NAFTA and GATT. It's just all these special interests are controlled by who?
Well, I don't know that they're all controlled by anybody, but we certainly, all these groups are pushing for open borders, and we shouldn't let them get by with it because the majority of people don't want that. And what they just want the cheap labor. That's what it's for. And we should reform the laws that are encouraging businesses to send their good jobs overseas. It's just awful. Free trade is such a deceit.
Yeah, because they write it one-sided. I've got a little 5-minute segment here coming up in about a minute at the break. Can you do it? If you can, I've got one more question.
No, I have to go. I have another.
I understand. I know you're a hard worker. Well, then here's my question. We'll have to take calls another time. Can't feminists now see that what they were sold as feminism doesn't empower women and has actually really screwed up women's position and everybody's position? Isn't feminism in trouble?
Feminism is in big trouble, but we can discuss that the next time I come on your show.
All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us, Phyllis Schlafly.
Okay. Bye, Alex.
All right. Very interesting lady, folks. I'm telling you, she really is at the heart of what you see with the Tea Party, Liberty Movement, you name it today, battling the Republican Rockefeller Blue Bloods. They would have totally taken over if it wasn't for folks like her. All right. I'm going to go to a few of your calls that missed talking to her when we come.
Thank you for listening to GCN. Visit GCNlive.com today.
On the eve of Thanksgiving this year, I was thinking, what am I really thankful for? And I got to tell you, it's my family. It's all the blessings of liberty that our forebears secured. And it's you, the listeners of the broadcast, who've made everything we do possible. This Black Friday, I decided to bring you the biggest special we've ever offered on any of the nutraceuticals at InfoWarsLife.com. I'm talking about Silver Bullet Colloidal Silver that we've been sold out of for months. This time I doubled down and got even more. As of me taping this, on the eve of Thanksgiving, we have already sold sold half of it. So instead of keeping the price at its regular discounted price, we are going to give you 20% off and free shipping on single bottles. But if you get 4 bottles, we're going to give you the 5th one free and the free shipping. I don't know how long this special will run, but if supplies last, we will extend it out until Cyber Monday. You'll find powerful nutraceuticals like Silver Bullet and others at InfoWars.